Hello and welcome to the 2020 NFL Redraft. That's right, I'm going back and I'm going to look at every single team's selection and decide what I would do if the draft were being held today. So just so you know exactly how it works, my mindset here is that we know everything that happened last season, but now, for whatever reason, the NFL decides that all of the rookies from last season are getting put back in a draft. They're going to be the same draft picks as last year, but now you just get to redo it. So the Bucs still won the Super Bowl last year, but, now we're doing a redraft. That's how it works. And we'll kick things off with number 1. Justin Herbert is now the quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals. And listen, this isn't a Joe Burrow slander take. I mean, Burrow was great as well. You could really argue either one. I'm just going with Herbert. He didn't get hurt. That factors in with, Burrow's injury. You hope he's fine. But, you never know. And also, I think he showed more. He won Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's the number 1 pick. But number 2, the Washington football team, they now get Joe Burrow. So I think they feel fine about this, getting again, Bengals fans, don't hate me. Joe Burrow, he's still number 2. And Washington fans, you're getting a franchise quarterback instead of a franchise defensive end. Both are very valuable, but the quarterback is more valuable. So this makes a lot of sense to me, getting Joe Burrow here at number 2, seeing how we saw him his rookie year. Number 3, the Detroit Lions, they take Chase Young here. So again, just dropping a spot from Burrow and Young both drop a spot. I think they could really use an edge guy, and Chase Young, he showed me a lot last year. It wasn't necessarily as good as Bosa's rookie season, I thought, but it was still really good, and his potential is through the charts. And defensive ends tend to take a year to really develop, so next year we could see him having a huge jump forward, and I look forward to it. Number 4 here, the New York Giants, they're sticking with tackle, but now instead of Andrew Thomas, they're getting Tristan Wirfs. Tristan Wirfs had one of the more impressive rookie tackle seasons we've seen in quite some time. And again, Andrew Thomas, not a horrible pick. I think he could get better, but Wirfs was just so much better this year. I think that they now get the tackle that they were hoping they would have gotten with Thomas, and still might get with Thomas. Number 5, I really struggled with this one. I really did. I'm sticking with Tua here for the Dolphins, and there is a chance he wasn't super impressive his rookie season. There is a chance it doesn't work out, and I did think about some other guys, maybe a Justin Jefferson, but I just felt like, I'd rather have Tua where you at least have a chance of the franchise quarterback, whereas if everyone else, now you really need to get that quarterback position. So I understand the flip side, but I'm sticking with Tua. Number 6, the Los Angeles Chargers. They're real losers of this draft because they lose their franchise quarterback, looks like, but they're at least getting a good offensive lineman back in Michael Onwenu, who was very good for the New England Patriots. He was a late round pick, but now he's going to 6th overall. I thought he was great. And in a tackle-heavy draft, he ends up being the second one off the board right here. Number 7, I'm going with Justin Jefferson to Carolina, largely because, can you just imagine Justin Jefferson in that offense? That would be lethal. That's like an offense perfectly built for him, and he would have so much success. He'd catch for like 3,000 yards a year in that offense. I just love that fit. I love the player, and they're getting good value here at 7, so everything about this makes sense to me. Okay, number 8, the Arizona Cardinals get Derrick Brown, who was selected in the real draft, 1 pick ahead of them by the Panthers, but now the Panthers have Jefferson, and I think the Cardinals, they just signed J.J. Watt. They have Chandler Jones, getting a great interior guy who I thought showed flashes, and again, that's a position that takes a year to develop. He'll be really good next year, and their defensive line can go from, suspect at times to elite at times with the addition of Brown. Number 9, the Jacksonville Jaguars did go with C.J. Henderson in the real draft, and that was a fine pick, but I'm going with Mekhi Becton here. I think they could use an offensive lineman. We know they're going to get Lawrence coming up, so, get Becton, protect Lawrence, improve that offensive line. It makes sense to me. And again, Henderson was good too. They had a good draft. I think this is a slight upgrade though. And number 10, how about this? The Cleveland Browns, they're sticking with the guy that they actually drafted. So 2 out of the top 10 end up being the same. Jedrick Wills, again, there's a couple tackles I had ahead of him. I actually have him as the 4th tackle. He was the 3rd tackle gone in the actual draft. Good player, showed a lot of flashes. I think that he'll be a very good tackle for a good amount of time. And I look forward to seeing what he can do in Cleveland. They just stay the same for this one. Number 11, I'm now going with the New York Jets. They don't have Becton anymore. He's off the board, so they're going to go Andrew Thomas. They're sticking with, offensive lineman, sticking with left tackle. Thomas, I had him as the highest graded tackle going into the draft. I now have him as number 5, but still a top 11 pick because he showed flashes. He got a lot better towards the end of the season, and I have full confidence he's going to be a great tackle for many years to come. It's just taking him a little bit longer than I think we would have hoped. Number 12, the Las Vegas Raiders. Might get some controversy here, but I thought Brandon Alyuk was great last year for the 49ers, and I also think that, he would just fit that offense perfectly. That just seems like such a great fit for me, Alyuk, in that Raiders offense. It's similar to the 49ers offense, but I think different enough and probably even better towards Ayuk's skill set. So I like Ruggs too. That fits the offense well, but we know how the Raiders love their scheme fit, and this seems like a great scheme fit. So now number 13, the 49ers, they need to replace Alyuk, so they're doing that with CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb was really good for Dallas, I thought. A really good, looks like he could be a true number 1 receiver at some point. Not the best scheme fit. Alyuk is better, but still, he's talented enough to make it work. I think he's the most talented guy, most talented receiver on the board. So now that they need a receiver without Alyuk, I think this is a very good replacement for that. Number 14 now, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, another big loser. They lose their franchise right tackle in Tristan Wirfs, but we know they're playing for need. They don't know how many years they have with Tom Brady left, so they're going Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor had a great rookie season. 14 is pretty high for a running back typically, but again, the Buccaneers, they're saying we don't care about next year. We're just trying to win a Super Bowl this year. It worked for them last year, so I think they would do that again in this situation. Get the best running back in the class and hope that can work out. Number 15, I'm sticking with Jerry Jeudy. I know he had an issue with drops, but that is something that can get fixed. Mike Evans had a huge issue with drops in his second season, and he fixed that. So I'm not as concerned, and he was able to just make some incredible plays. That one, like where he mossed the guy in New York, was incredible, and he got a ton of separation. So number 15 here, I think this is a good pick. They're the third team to pick the player that they still picked in the regular draft. Number 16 now, I'm going with, instead of A.J. Terrell, the cornerback that the Falcons got, I'm going Larius Sneed. They're both really good corners. I mean, it's a coin flip, honestly, so you could argue just stick with Terrell, but, it's more fun to just pick a different one. I do think Sneed had a little bit better of a rookie season than Terrell did. I do like how Terrell's a complete corner, but I am going to go with Sneed, but again, that's no disrespect to Terrell. Number 17, the Dallas Cowboys, they can't get CeeDee Lamb. He's off the board. But you know what? They don't need a receiver as much as they need safety. And Antoine Winfield Jr. could be a great pickup right here, obviously just coming off a Super Bowl win. I think he's the best safety on the board right here. And I think that this is a good fit. Something they could really use improvement on the defense. And while there are other good receivers, I just don't know if they need that as much. All right. Number 18, the Miami Dolphins did select Austin Jackson. That's probably a pick they would like to have back. So now they're getting it back, and they're getting T. Higgins, who had a really good season for Cincinnati, really underrated. And I think that him getting added to that offense, which remember they still have to us. So this is a good situation for them to get a good receiver and, pair him with a big guy in Parker, and maybe they could really do a lot of damage. Number 19, the Raiders drafted Damon Arnett. He had his struggles at times, and, there's still potential there, but I'm going to go with a different player for the defense and for the secondary. Jeremy Chin, who was great for the Carolina Panthers. He got Defensive Rookie of the Year votes, so getting him a really good safety and sort of improving your defense seems like the right move here. So that's why they get him at 19. Now with number 20, the Jaguars, they got to improve their defense. They drafted K'Lavon Chaisson, who, I liked out of college. We knew he was going to be a project, but really didn't have the positive flashes that I think we were kind of hoping for. There's still potential there and still hope, but Kamren Curl had a really good season, and I think I'd much rather have Kamren Curl just because I've seen him already play really well, and he can help their defense more, I think, as of right now. So, again, that's the fun of the redraft. You get to get sure things. Number 21 now, the Philadelphia Eagles will not draft Jalen Reagor this time. They're getting Chase Claypool, a huge upgrade. With all due respect to Reagor, maybe he can turn it around his next year. It wasn't a great rookie season. Chase Claypool had a really good rookie season, and I thought that he at times looked like he could maybe be a number 1 receiver at a certain point. He's at least a really good number 2 receiver already. So Philadelphia Eagles getting a big receiver who can make some plays that can help out Hurts. I think they would love for this to actually happen. Number 22, the Minnesota Vikings could also improve their defense. They're one of these teams that could improve. I almost went with A.J. Terrell. I'm instead going Alex Highsmith, edge rusher. I think that they could really, him next to Danielle Hunter, I think would just be great. I think that those two guys next to each other who could just rush the passer consistently and really, wreak havoc. That seems scary to go up against, and we saw how well it worked for Pittsburgh when that happened. Obviously, I think TJ Watt is better than Hunter, but they're both really good, and this would be a big pick. Number 23, the Chargers are getting A.J. Terrell. This is kind of one of those, I feel like, steals of the draft a little bit. You're getting a really talented player who fell down, and I think that, again, getting a really good corner here, I think he fits that scheme. We saw that in Atlanta, that he can fit that scheme, so I do like what I've seen from Terrell, and I also think that, it's a good fit. This is just one of those picks that makes sense. They got Kenneth Murray, who I like too, but I like Terrell better. Number 24, how about this for a pick? The Saints, instead of Cesar Ruiz, this just is one of those, it just perfectly worked out. Getting Jordan Love here. We don't have tape on Jordan Love because he hasn't played in the NFL yet, so it's kind of hard to give him too much of a higher pick. In the real draft, he went only a couple picks later, but I figured, hey, you could use a quarterback now, and you could use a cheap one. So getting a rookie quarterback would really help New Orleans. Number 25, the 49ers got Brandon Alyuk with this pick, and they got Javon Kinlaw with their earlier pick, but now they're getting Kinlaw with this later pick, and I think it's, listen, these defensive linemen typically take time to develop, so you're getting him at a better price than you got him for last time, and also because, we saw some other sleepers come up and play really well. So I think that getting Kinlaw, good value, and, they need that position, so it just all works out. Number 26, the Green Bay Packers, they finally get that second receiver, Henry Ruggs, and what a fit that would be, getting a speed guy next to Adams for Rodgers' big arm. We've seen him with MVS kind of have some success that way. Now you can use Ruggs, who is a better receiver. I think that this would work a lot, and Ruggs still has sky-high potential. So while he didn't have as good of a rookie season as some of these other guys, his potential might even be higher. So this is just a great fit and a great pick, I think. Number 27, the Seahawks sticking with Jordan Brooks. So again, another one of these picks that ends up being exactly the way it was in the real draft. And it makes sense. I mean, they drafted him for a reason. He fits a role nicely. I do think that they finally, successfully got one of their first-round picks. Right around here seems good, and I think that it's him or maybe Kenneth Murray, but I'd stick with him because we know he can fit that scheme well. Number 28, Baltimore is going to select Laviska Shenault Jr. He was a wide receiver for Jacksonville and played well there, so I think that clearly they need a wide receiver, and I think this would be a good fit for Baltimore as well. So getting a good wide receiver, again, not exactly going out on a limb by saying that the Ravens should draft a receiver, but this can help fill one of their needs for a team that feels like they're ready to compete for a championship. Okay, number 29, the Tennessee Titans. I'm going C.J. Henderson here, and this kind of feels like a bit of a steal a little bit. I mean, the last time they ended up picking Isaiah Wilson, who looks like he's going to be out of the league. So instead of him going with C.J. Henderson, who's a great corner for Jacksonville, and they could use a corner, this just makes a ton of sense. And great might be a strong word, but very good and could be great in his second season. With the 30th overall pick, the Miami Dolphins are going to get Isaiah Simmons, and this is another one that feels like it's a steal. He was at the top of my board for a bunch of picks, and the only one, maybe I could have had him instead of Jordan Brooks, but I don't know. I think that that's a good fit, and there's just so many of bad fit that he fell all the way here to number 30. This is a great fit. The Dolphins could use a linebacker, and he's just best player available. Number 31, the Minnesota Vikings. They're just going to take a flyer on Jeff Okudah. I know he didn't have a great rookie season, but he did show flashes, and cornerback is a position that notoriously it takes a long time to figure it out. And let's be honest, they didn't exactly have the best coaching in Detroit, so maybe with a better coaching staff, he can turn it around, and it's a position of need. So I like this idea of taking a flyer on someone with a late first-round pick who could end up being a superstar if it works out. And finally, the Kansas City Chiefs, they're getting Patrick Queen. So, he was originally taken a little bit earlier, and then the Chiefs selected Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the real draft. But instead, I like this decision of getting him here. And, they could use a linebacker. Queen is another guy who you're kind of taking a flyer on, has great potential, was a bit disappointing as a rookie, but I think he can turn it around, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do, so I think that's why I have him picked there. All right, so those are my selections. Feel free to yell at me in the comments. I know half of you already probably have in some way or another. Hey, the discussion is part of the fun here. So again, let me know why you think I'm stupid in the comments below. I get it. That's part of the YouTube experience. And you know what? I like doing these things. I think they're just sort of a fun exercise. And honestly, there was so much talent. I didn't realize really until I did this how talented this draft was. And it's interesting doing it after one season. Makes it kind of more difficult. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.